Hi there, it's John McConnell, President and CEO of Victoria Gold. For those of you who don't know Victoria, we are listed on the TSX, and over the past few years, we've developed and now operate the Eagle Gold Mine in Canada's Yukon Territory, where we're ramping up to 200,000 ounces per year. We've done all of this through a pandemic, so quite an accomplishment by our team.
The award-winning John McConnell. I welcome you, sir. How are you?
I'm very good. I had a good break at Christmas and ready to give her in 2022.
Good man. I'm glad you had a break. Hey, go on. Tell us about this award you're about to receive. Don't be shy.
Well, it's essentially, it's an award given out by AIM BC, which is the, it's an organization that promotes mining and exploration in Western Canada. And the award is essentially Developer of the Year. And it's for me and our team for the development of the Eagle Gold Mine in the Yukon.
There you go. Award winning. Must be true. You've got an award. So I want to talk about Project 250 because it's everything that you've been building up for the last couple of years, and you're obviously producing gold and selling gold and so forth, and Project 250 hopefully becomes Project 300, 350, whatever. But I need to talk about Orion. So Orion have been selling down in the marketplace. Do they have more to sell? Who's buying these shares? Is it going to be a problem for you?
No. Orion has been a bit of a seller. I think they've done it very strategically. We can't forget that without Orion, we wouldn't have built a mine. So they've been very helpful, but they've always told us they're not a fund, and that at the right time and price, they would sell their equity position in Victoria and reinvest that money in the next mining project. So last week, I think exactly a week ago, I received news that, they had sold their last of their equity, which was roughly 9% of Victoria, to two buyers, Franklin and Sprott. So those two groups increased their position. I think it was good timing. They were both large investors in Pretium. So they were looking for a home for their profits from Pretium, and they chose Victoria and, worked out an agreement with Orion to buy their shares.
Okay.
So
it's in good hands.
It's not good riddance to Orion, but, they were a bit of a overhang on the price, and everybody knew they would sell eventually. And now those shares are in sticky hands. Both Franklin and Sprott are good long-term, sophisticated mining shareholders.
So, was this happening during the course of the whole of last year? Or was it just at obviously just before the end? Recently they decided to offload a whole 9%. How long has this been an overhang for you? You've been aware of it, obviously, but you weren't quite sure of timing. Is their business, not yours?
Yeah, we, because they were below 10%, we don't see what they're selling. But we suspected every time our share price reached $15, they were sellers.
Right. Okay. Formulaic. Okay. And there's any other, obviously, into good hands, Sprott and Franklin, fantastic. Are you aware of any other holders that perhaps are looking to offload and take advantage? Because we've seen a lot of funds certainly rebalancing portfolios, taking profits where they can to make up for losses elsewhere. Are you under any pressure from anyone else as a holder?
Not our major institutional shareholders. I think, some of the retail folks get caught when, the Dow drops and they've got to sell their winners to make up for their losers. But, none of the institutional guys are doing that, I don't think.
Okay. Look, John, I do want to talk about Project 250, but the point, the reason I called you is because I would want to talk about the growth profile, right? You're a company of a certain size, nearly $1 billion, spending the day of the week. It gets harder to tell a growth story. It gets harder to convince investors that there's still a growth component to your business at those levels. So I want to kind of get into exploration, maybe a little bit about what's happening with Banyan and other opportunities in a minute. But maybe first, let's go with the Project 250. You worked hard for the last 2 years. We've kind of talked a little bit technical in the past about what's happening with the leach pads and temperatures and all sorts of bumps along the road for you and ramping up, etc. But can you just remind us, what are the things that you did last year that you think were most significant and important for the company to do, which is going to allow you to deliver Project 250?
Yeah, I think, Project 250 is two changes. One is operational. So, if you go back to our original feasibility study, the concept for Eagle was always that we wouldn't stack the coldest months of the year. So 3 months, mid-December through mid-March, we wouldn't stack on the leach pad. Well, we've learned over the past 2 winters, now 2.5, that, it's not an issue. Our neighbors to the west, Kinross at the Fort Knox mine, they started the same way. They now stack year round. So we're going to move to year round stacking, or at least only shutting down for 5 weeks a year. And that has begun now. So this year we'll only be down for 5 weeks for our annual maintenance. And, found the heap leach pad works fine in the winter. We have enough mass on there now that we don't see the temperature drop in the fluids. And the second aspect is, we found that through our drilling and blasting in the open pit, we generate far more fines than we anticipated in the design. So the second part of Project 250 is putting in another screening plant between the secondary and tertiary crushers. Now that'll do two things. It'll get all of those fines out of the crushing system, which is great operationally because there'll be far less dust. But more importantly, it allows us to increase the throughput in the crushing by about 15%. So that makes up, the other half of Project 250. We've done the preliminary engineering on this screening plant. We're just completing detailed engineering. Plan is to start construction in June. So it'll be June, July, and then we'll be commissioning in August and September. We've already ordered the long lead equipment, the most important one being the screening deck itself. The lead time on that is about 6 months, so that should arrive in June. Full steam ahead on Project 250, and our target is to be at 250,000 ounces per year in 2023.
Just on that, in terms of increasing the design throughput, the crushing circuit, 15% or 1.5 million tons of additional ore stack. What does that equate to in dollars? What's the payback on doing something like this? That sort of tweak for you?
Yeah, I have to be careful on economic numbers because regulators frown on you. But I can tell you that the payback is less than a year.
Gotcha. Okay.
The capital for this Project 250 is less than $20 million. We had the exact number in the press release, but I tell people 20 million.
Gotcha. Okay. So Project 250 is 250 ounces per year by, let's say, would that be the 2023 deliverable number, or is that would be the run rate by the end of 2023?
No, that'll be the 2023 deliverable number.
Wow. Okay. Good. What next? Okay. So you want to keep increasing that number. So where's that additional ore gonna come from? Because you've got an exploration program going. Can you talk to us about that, the scale of it, how many drills, how many meters?
Yeah, so, we did announce last year that we were going to do some deep drilling. We've always known the ore body extends at depth, and certainly at these better gold prices. And, when the capital or the debt's been paid back, you can, go deeper with the open pit. Also along strike, we've done some drilling, so we're expanding the reserve currently. We have 2 drills running, drilling around and below Eagle right now as we speak. And then the big exploration regionally is a target called Raven out to the east. It's about 12 kilometers as the crow flies from Eagle. We're still waiting for assay results. I think everybody knows about the problems with assay labs, but we've got about 50% of the results back now, and we hope by the end of March we'll have all of the results in. But we've seen enough of the results that we're planning a large program this year. We'll drill more than 60,000 meters out at Raven. We plan to have 4 drills out there, put in a full camp. So really fast track the exploration and development of Raven in 2022.
Right, but what's the resource that you're working with now, and what's the reserve at the moment?
At Eagle?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just over 3 million ounces. And obviously we've been mining for 2 years. So, there has been some depletion, and, through this drilling, there'll be some additions. And, we plan to put out a new technical report at the end of 2022, which will take all of that into account.
Right. And so I'm going to bounce around a little bit here because it's so many questions sent in, but also just some thoughts off the back of what you're saying. You mentioned Kinross earlier. Obviously, major purchase recently of Great Bear. No resource, no reserve, no technical studies whatsoever. Just drilling, and Kinross valued that at a number. Whether you think that's a good number or a high number is down to you. But you've got what they want, which is gold, and you're producing gold at reasonable rates. You're a mid-tier company. Market cap is one way people look at valuing companies, but enterprise value is another. So how do you when you look in the market, what's going on? There's a fair bit of M&A. You mentioned Pretium as well earlier. There's a bit of M&A happened last year. Some big numbers being thrown around, some big valuations being thrown around. How do you look at yourself from a point of view of making yourself look attractive to outside bidders, if indeed you are? Because at these prices, you look cheap compared to some of those deals last year. Or is it because your resource and your reserve aren't big enough yet? Is that what the value of the drilling and the exploration, not just the kind of at Eagle, but also at Raven, can do for you? Is that why you're doing it?
Well, I think Raven is a very exciting new discovery. Our team discovered it back in 2018. Because of COVID, our exploration programs the last couple of years have been limited. And let's face it, we had to keep our eye on the development of Eagle. That was the number one priority. Now Eagle is running well, and we've got the cash flow to support a very large program out there at Raven. So we're gonna, have a very good look at it this year. I mean, generally the last 2 years, I would say on average, we've drilled between 8 and 10,000 meters in a summer. We're going up to 60,000 meters this year. So a significant increase.
It is a significant increase, but it's got to be working towards an end in mind, right? Which is either we're going to Project 500, which, we are masters of our own destiny, or it's do you know what? Having seen what's going on out there, the valuations are, well, they seem quite rich, if I'm honest, to me, for what those companies have. But it gives you as a CEO and the board some ideas about the picture you need to paint for those particular acquisitors to be able to sort of see similar potential offers, or is it actually no, we don't want to do it. So which camp are you in? We will just start being a cash machine of our own. We'll produce gold, sell gold. We're good at it. We think we've got a long way to go with this ore body, or ore bodies, obviously with Raven, and we're happy to keep doing this. Or is there a quick win in mind?
Yeah, I think you always have to keep an eye on the exploration and replacing the gold you mine, and whether you're a Kinross and you do it by acquiring exploration potential, or our approach is we think our best opportunity is in our own backyard. So is something like Raven. And you mentioned Banyan is a company that's exploring about 30 kilometers south of us, and has a very interesting project going on there with Ormac. I think they're close to 1 million ounces of resource now, and they're a little different from every other Yukon company in that they drilled until the Christmas break, and they're back drilling again now. So most Yukon companies don't start to gear up for drilling until May. So they're a few months ahead of that.
No, we like the Banyan Gold story, and we've had them on a few times. And if you haven't looked at it, go look at the Banyan Gold story. But I'm more interested in, because they're down here. They're really early stage explorer, and albeit getting close to 1 million ounces. But for you, I'm trying to understand what you're about, John, because you've got it's a big company now. Do you say we can build this to be significantly bigger? There's a real growth story here. We can continue to add value, continue to drive the share price, but we will, more importantly, we'll continue to mine and be masters of our own destiny. Or do you say this is now a very interesting size, and it could be, if we get the exploration right this year, our own exploration right at Raven, we could create a real value for shareholders, an event for shareholders, which they might find attractive. So I'm just trying to work out how you're building the company, how you're playing this. What your intent is.
Yeah, our intent is to grow the company. We're very confident we have something out at Raven. We still don't have a good sense for how large it is. But my hope is that it's large enough to support a second mine out there. It wouldn't be trucking ore to Eagle. It would be a separate standalone mine. So we'd have 2 mining operations, on the greater Dublin Gulch properly. And, let's not forget, we have probably another 10 high priority targets to have a look at. And, we truly believe this is a district. It's not 1 or 2 mines. There could be 5 or 6 mines in the area.
Okay, I understand that, and I understand you've got to sort of dance around the subjects. I'll come at it a different way, which is if you look at the current resource, it's for a company. It's not big, right? 3 million, right? You'd want and look to grow that meaningfully. So how do you go about doing that? Because again, it sends signals to market. So you could keep drilling and say, well, you know what, we're fine on the reserves for a while, so we'll just keep drilling this out, and at some point in the next 2 years, we'll we'll update the resource on that? Or do you try and put those flags in the sand and say, do you know what, by the end of 22, we're going to put a new resource out. I'll give signal to the market about the scale of the opportunity here. And we'll do another one at the end of 23. I mean, how do you come at that?
Yeah, I think, we're going to continue to grow the resource at Eagle, both at depth and along strike. And, I'm very confident that Eagle will be in production for 20 years, not the, mine life of 11 years that, may even go longer. And, if you look at the history of Kinross's Fort Knox mine, I think it started with a 10-year mine life, and I think it's probably been running close to 30 now, and they've still got 10 years of mining to do there. So, Eagle is a twin to Fort Knox, very similar geology. I'm can't back it up with numbers, but I'm very confident Eagle will run for 20 or 30 years. And then on top of that, we've got the exploration potential. We've talked mainly about Raven, but there's a number of other targets. We did a little bit of work this year on a property called Lynx, and we'll do a bigger program there this year. But yeah, there's 10 targets, and as I said, there's companies around us now exploring, and we're the obvious developer at the end of the day. So
okay, and obviously, so that's, I'm not quite sure of the timing of the next resource update. Then, what would you be aiming for at Eagle?
Yeah, we're targeting the end of this year.
Okay, fine, gotcha. Now, obviously, you talked about it. All CEOs talk about it. The delays from on the assays coming out and the speed at which we've heard 12 weeks to 5 months. It's some huge delays there. I mean, will that damage your chances of putting out a resource at the end of the year? Or are you going to be able to deliver that no matter what?
Well, we are taking a little different approach this year to assays. We've put out requests for proposals from the assay companies to actually put a lab probably somewhere near Mayo that we would have exclusive use of. I talked about that we're going to drill 60,000 meters. Banyan's going to drill 30,000 meters. So we've partnered with Banyan, and, we'll have exclusive access to this assay lab for the two companies.
Oh, that's good.
And be able to, far better control getting assay results.
Okay, so it would be independent, but exclusive to you guys. Entirely paid by both companies. How much Banyan stock do you guys hold?
I think it's just over 12%.
Right. Are you going to be topping up in 2022?
I think they're in. If they finance, will participate at least on a pro rata basis. But I think they're well financed for 2022. Okay.
Yeah, because there's a funny moment, isn't there, where you see big strategic partners come into small companies and it ends up paralyzing the small company in many ways in terms of the perception in the marketplace, their ability to get certain types of funding in place, and for retail to kind of give them the credit for the future growth. So yeah, I guess it's a delicate balance there, but at the same time, you're seeing what they're doing down there, and their drill results are rather good.
Yeah, no, it's, we increased our position here recently. Alexco was also a large shareholder. They've sold off their position, and we were a participant in taking that up. So we increased from, I think we were just under 10% to now we're around 12%. And, Alexco is no longer a Banyan shareholder.
Okay. At what point do you start having conversations about terms? Because obviously they're interesting, they're near you, you know what they're doing, you know what they're about. Or is that a long ways off?
I think it's a long ways off. I mean, we're fully engaged with running Eagle and, managing our own exploration, and have projects that we feel are equivalent to Banyan's Ormac. And, the Banyan team is doing a great job. So, we'll continue to support them with technical help as they require it, and financial help if they require it. But we're quite happy to have Tara and her team managing that work.
Yeah, for sure. Can we just talk about the just a little bit on the kind of corporate structure stuff? So obviously you're throwing a bit of cash now. You've restructured some of the finance. Shave 50 basis points off some of the terms there. Will we expect to see more of that in terms of the use of proceeds, or are there better ways to spend money going forward?
We always look at a basket of things, but for me, I'm a bit old-fashioned, and number one priority is paying down debt. And once we get the balance shape where I'm comfortable and our board is comfortable, then we can start looking at other things.
Right, but right now, so I'm just going to work out: it's self-funding now? You just have these facilities in the background. What's the remaining debt? What's the time frame for paying it off?
It's probably in the order of 150 million US is the total debt right now.
Right.
We paid down, and I always go back and forth in terms of US and Canadian dollars, but we paid back 61 million Canadian last year in debt, so quite a significant retirement, and we'll look to do that again this year.
It's a similar sort of amount. You're under no pressure there, for sure, and it's not affecting your ability to invest in terms of the drilling either. So all good. You're comfortable with where you're at.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Well, look, John, that was just wanted to catch up on see where you are and see what the plans are for this year. But we'd love to see some of these results coming out of the exploration component for sure, so you continue to deliver Project 250. So yeah, look, stay in touch. Let us know how you're getting on. Okay.
All right. No, this has been great.